Quantum Conversations, your portal to the inner realms. Access infinite possibilities, infinite mastery, and infinite love. Mind-expanding, heart-opening conversations with some of the greatest spiritual teachers, luminaries, and healers of today's world. Usher in new earth by living in your sacred heart. Quantum Conversations is brought to you by acoustichealth.com, home of music from the universe, online healing retreats, and this program. Claim your free registration to daily shows at acoustichealth.com. acoustichealth.com, your portal to the inner realms. Our program starts shortly. Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We invite you into this sacred circle so that you can share with us in this open heart and a purity of love. Indeed, we are returning to our mastery and the power of love. My guest today is a beautiful embodiment of the feminine Christ. And in a way, we can say she has ascended. She is living a purity of the divine feminine with crystalline consciousness. And this is something that we can all do. We are all on this path. And it is a state of awareness. It is a state of beingness. And along the way, we release the density that blocks us from remembering this divine blueprint that is love. Grace Galzagorry is a pioneer and a way shower, and she has birthed Grace of the Feminine Christ. Grace lives in unwavering commitment to truly bring the path of the feminine Christ to light. And we are here today to talk with Grace as she works to make this accessible to you too, and as many people as possible. We're going to hear her own spiritual evolution because it helps us on our own journey. Let's welcome Grace Galzagorry to Quantum Conversations. Hello, Grace.
Hello, Loren. I'm so happy to be here and to be with everyone and just feeling so much gratitude and joy. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to share something with our audience, and I would love to hear from our audience if they too noticed anything, a shift in their vibration, even before joining today's call. And the reason I say this is because as I was in my space this morning, I felt into you, Grace. You are multidimensional. We all are. A state of consciousness is new earth. We're all here to bring that forward. But I felt such a love and a peace this morning, like the sense, the need to drop all judgment of everything. And in a way, that's fifth dimensional, that state of beingness. We're going to talk about that. And then you mentioned as well that the Lemurians came forward to you today, and our whole platform, everyone listening to this, I will venture to say is a Lemurian. And you and I did not share that before we brought you here. You picked up on that. And isn't that fascinating? I just love that.
Yes, I agree. The Lemurians are so, in my healing work this morning, they came forward at the end, and it is the 11th today, which is the day of mastery, or a number of mastery. And I literally felt this explosion like a fountain coming through me that was just sparkly joy and love and gratitude. And it was this whole Lemurian field this Lemurian team that sort of works with me, but really the consciousness of Lemurian, I could feel the sparkling crystalline vibration, and they were just celebrating the reemergence of love and the power, the mastery of love to heal ourselves. To reconnect with and to become that, to embody that, to know that we have that capacity within ourselves. It's part of our divine birthright, our blueprint to heal ourselves through the love that we are. This is our divine essence. It was so beautiful, Loren, and their gratitude just goes out to those who are listening, who are on this courageous journey, to you for providing this platform. It was really quite an experience. I'm still just immersed in it.
All right. Well, I hope everyone is feeling the sparkly love of Lemuria. It is truly a state of being. It is a presence. It is, we're going to talk about the ascension portal and the crystalline consciousness. This is a huge part in that, and what our role is on our path, and why it's so important to really clear out our own stuff, because that literally changes everything. And I do see a world healed from that. In fact, the reason I even began this podcast 15 years ago was so it could be a healing spa for people, a healing place to decompress from that old earth. So new earth is here. It is a vibration. Not everyone is in it because we're still working through density and moving through density. We're going to hear your story. What I want to say for everyone is you're quite amazing. We're going to hear your story about embodiment of love and birthing the divine feminine, the grace of feminine Christ. And what I want to say about your stories is, even before this, you were in a humanitarian way. You dealt with AIDS and that epidemic, and that is a huge compassionate action right there. And all along your path, you were in a high level, you could say that was almost corporate, but then something happened along the way where you surrendered and you allowed this opening in your own life. Can you share your story with us?
Wow. Yes, I thank you for bringing that up. So it's interesting, as my life really has been about healing, and I was ultimately had started a clinic for the homeless as a faculty practice for my department at UCSF. But I was, as you're pointing out, very much in the sort of patriarchal paradigm of being driven and success-oriented and doing humanitarian projects, but still actually quite disconnected from myself and from my true power, interestingly enough. And in that, and also underneath that, I had the history of a very abusive and violent childhood, and the loss of my mother at the age of 2, which really I had not resolved, and so I was practicing addictions to really hide from the depth of this pain that I was carrying inside, and started to do some emotional release body work, and that opened me to these mystical experiences, which I truly had not had up to that point. I had been quite success-driven, and suddenly it was like this whole other world opened, and my body started speaking, and my heart I started to have so many experiences that were not available to me because I was so mind-dominant, but my heart started to speak, and I realized how deep my pain was and that I really needed to do deeper healing. And there was something about the mystical experiences that drew me, and I started to feel the pain of a separation and a longing in my heart to know myself as something deeper, and really became involved with the spiritual community. And I realized that when they spoke, they spoke from the vibration of the heart. So much more powerful than the many meetings I attended at UCSF, where it was just, a lot of talking, but I couldn't feel that. I couldn't feel the depth of that. And something about that, and also my soul and the awakening of it's just time to go inward, that I started to feel like this world made no sense. And I had some profound experiences as part of the spiritual community of being divinity, of being one, of being the vibrational field of oneness. It was so profound. And I just felt like I needed to know more. And I really wanted to heal my very wounded heart. And so I just did some pretty radical things because my heart just started to speak so loudly. And I can assure you that everyone in my world thought that I had lost my mind. I don't think anyone thought this was a good idea, but I moved to a more rural area and just started pursuing this deeper path of the heart. And it just started opening me into so many experiences of remembrance through the cellular memory of my body and through my heart's remembrance. And then really within a few years had a Kundalini rising experience at Easter because I had started to have huge experiences around the Christ times basically. And at that point had been told by I think it was about 4 seers that I was related to, that I was Jesus' sister. And my experiences were very personal of Jesus, the Holy Family, as well as Mary Magdalene. And these events, I just put them on a back burner because I didn't want to get my ego wrapped around it. And I just kept thinking, well, it was another life. This is a new life. But it just kept coming up, and eventually I got very sick after the Kundalini rising experience that went on, where, lasted for 9 months, where I was one. Everything became a vibrational reality, and I no longer could go back.
That's fascinating. All right, so let's dive into that Kundalini. Here it is. You were starting to do work. You were in your community, right, of divine feminine community, and doing the inner work and starting to clear it out. And it took 9 months, but this happened overnight, and you said you woke up. Can you describe that day and that timeline right there?
Oh, God.
It was
during... Go ahead.
Just that, 9 months to integrate that.
Well, it was truly a miraculous state, and I could feel that everything in nature was vibrating, and I was vibrating, and I could see the oneness and feel it. It wasn't just see it; I could feel that we were one.
The vibration of oneness.
Yes. And I could feel the consciousness of the trees and the streams, and just could merge with that and have these ecstatic experiences that were, somehow there was just veils between me and the way I used to perceive reality prior to that. And in this, I was just one. And Mary Magdalene walked with me. I could feel, totally walked with me. I could feel her, see her. Sometimes she would come through me. Sometimes I felt her as walking beside me, but it was my first experience of her, and the depth of my communion with her was just mind-blowing. And so I had to sort of get accustomed to it, and gradually I could will things and they would instantly happen. It was a pretty phenomenal experience to have, because I was, in many ways, you could say, unprepared. My hair turned blue on my crown, and I had developed some back pain at that point, and it all cleared, literally, spiraled right out of my spine. And I felt of this world, but not of this world. But it was so sudden. So it was quite, and then after a while, felt like another layer of darkness arose from my womb, from the groundedness that sort of took over. And by then I was extremely sick, and my body was not able to sustain, but I also had deeper levels of being grounded on earth, basically, to clear, and a lot of sexual trauma. And this is when the past life experience started to emerge of my past lives as a feminine Christ, and depths of rage and grief and countless emotions, just wave after wave after wave of memories that emerged in my cellular memory. And I started to do this healing work. I tried all kinds of things, and nothing was actually helping my body. I mean, everything helped a little bit. I pursued so many things because Western medicine just thought that I had cancer. There were changes in my bone marrow, and so I was wasting and in tremendous pain, and was pretty immobile for about another 5 years, and was a chemical sensitive, electrosensitive, and really without a diagnosis in many ways. I didn't understand what was going on, but this was a true dark night. I mean, it was dark and really dramatically contrasted to what I had previously experienced, because that was so much light, and I just didn't know completely what was happening. Different people had different ideas, but ultimately I just had to live that, and I ended up living in the woods on some friend's property because I couldn't tolerate almost any environment, and had to live outdoors and just completely merged into nature. And it's really ultimately what healed me and let go of all of my concepts of what was success, and I mean everything that's about the separation here, and truly came into a grounded, anchored in my body, divine union.
And today you are showing others how to do this, and everyone has a very special treat in our session today, because we will do a loving vortex healing session with you. So then, as you've come to understand this healing journey that you've gone on, it's about density and dropping the density. And you said grounding on earth to clear. Grounding on earth to clear, and then seeing that oneness. So when we're talking crystalline consciousness, and in fact, that's how I found you. When I was sitting down to look for people to bring on our show, I typed in crystalline consciousness. And I found you, and immediately, it was like this morning, I just felt this gentle embrace of this higher consciousness. So when we look at what's going on in our world, let's zoom out from our world and focus on what each of us need to do individually, what you would suggest, because there's a lot of distractions.
Yeah.
And it's really important to use these as opportunities, use the triggers as opportunities to go within even more. Can you explain what's happening with the crystalline consciousness? What's it doing to ourselves when we bring in the embodiment of our soul? There's no room for density. So what's going on here?
Well, on a planetary level, my sense is that, and I see this as the vibration of love is amplifying here, and it's breaking up all that hasn't been love, all that's been out of balance, because the Christ consciousness is really about the balance of the masculine and feminine, and we've been way in the patriarchal mode. It's been very extreme. And this is not only happening on the outer. I mean, I see everything that happens on the macro is also happening inside of us. So we've not only having the experience on the outer of all the unrest that's happening in the pandemic, etc., but on the inner, there's a deep imbalance of the masculine and feminine because we haven't really adopted or embraced the feminine, and it really is the heart that needs to open in order to heal ourselves, because it really is love that heals us, and this is the expression of the feminine. Masculine is light, and so the feminine is basically awakening on this planet, and it is shattering all that hasn't honored the feminine in a certain kind of way, and it doesn't look good right now in terms of the breaking through of love. But I totally trust the benevolence of love, the generosity, the spaciousness of love, and know that this is really breaking all this up so that we can embrace love on the inner as our divine essence, as that which we truly are. And on the outer, I think each of us doing that work on the inner will actually adjust or heal the outer. But we really need to heal our own inner feminine, masculine balance to bring the world into that kind of balance, which is really the foundation of the crystalline consciousness. That's sort of how I see it.
Yes, the balance of that, the balance of those energies.
Yes.
And so when we do our process, maybe we can go into a little bit of that as well. Doesn't this feel good? This feels really good when we can look at it from this perspective. It is easy to it is easy to judge, it is easy to go into fear, it is easy to take sides. And what you're saying, Grace, is be graceful and speak from the vibration of the heart.
Right. And actually it's a spiraling process that keeps going deeper and deeper. And we develop trust in love because we've forgotten, basically, and it became very dormant and latent, and now it's coming alive again. So we have to learn and be very patient, compassionate with ourselves, gentle with ourselves, and this recognize, oh yeah, well I just blew it there, but let me just come back, recommit, and keep showing up, because my teachings have gotten more and more simple. Just embrace what's arising in your life with such compassion, such understanding for yourself, and to allow the feeling to emerge, the feelings of what's going on, because that's what clears it. It's really the feeling sense and allowing the heart to open and embrace what's emerging, and a very deep level of vulnerability, honesty with ourselves about here's what's really coming up. Not the facade I have, but here's what's really coming up, the most vulnerable place within ourselves, that we can honestly say, wow, here's what I'm feeling. I wish I was this image that I'm projecting, but here's what's really happening here. It's so beautiful. I mean, it's just so pure, innocence. I mean, to really understand that's who we really are. And we have to create the space to embrace that within ourselves. That's really what healing is about, that we continue to expand our container of not just allowing, not just accepting, embracing with great compassion the fact that we're all on this very challenging journey, and we learned a certain way, and it's not working anymore. So it's okay that we aren't necessarily doing it the way we'd like to be the authenticity of what's arising. That's a much deeper place that is so genuine, and it resonates. That's where power really resides. It's genuine. That's the impulse of the universe. That's the impulse of the divine essence that we are.
That is so beautiful, and it shows us the vibration to be in, and then opening the heart. So what we're doing is allowing this vibration of oneness and love, the power of love, when it comes into our bodies, it's pushing out, it's got to push out the density, right?
Yeah.
You've seen this with your clients, but it's also changing the DNA.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so what is that like when we're healing our sacred heart and understanding it as a multidimensional portal? What do we need to take about that? What do we need to understand about that?
Well, I think that probably the most meaningful way to hold it is to really understand, like I said, to create some spaciousness and generosity within ourself, for ourselves, because this masculine feminine imbalance inside, when the heart emerges, we've become so conditioned to shutting down that voice and to trying, in a sense, to be something that we may not necessarily be. It is really to open to that in as much as we can to, I would say, anchor in the earth and into the vibration, the field of the heart through the earth. The earth is really here to support this and to hold us in this endeavor. The earth is incredibly generous as well in holding the field with us. But I also encourage people to call in the deities they work with, because it transforms and allows us some space to breathe inside so that we can actually embrace or hold just so gently that which is arising. Because very vulnerable. We're not used to doing this. And it takes practice to really get more and more so we accept and value that this is the emergence of the crystalline, that this is where the work really resides. Because our tendency is to want to reach out and do it out there. But I actually see this as it resides within us. The vibration of love is within us. And from the center of the earth, it comes up really through our sacrum, our womb, and into the heart. This is where we reach for the depths of who we are into. This is really the feminine arising. It's not out there. It's within us. And by removing the layers of the trauma, which happens gradually, it can't happen overnight. Eventually we get to the core of this and live from the inside out. Live from what is really the vibrational rather than the world that we are accustomed to, which is based on what we see, which is very much separation. The vibrational, the feminine world, brings us into the formlessness and into being one with everything. There's only unity there so that we can merge with one another, animals, the planet, the stars, the galaxies, and all of it comes from within, really deep inside of us. It's not out. It's not out there.
Remember this. This all comes from within us. So for those, we're going to do a beautiful vortex of love. We're going to do a little mini session for people to really feel this. And we're already getting word from folks that, yes, they've been feeling this today already. And when someone is sitting in this density, it's important to recognize that the love exists within us. So what do you do? And I guess that's part of the session, is that you just allow the space for that to come up. And you shared a little bit about it. Is there anything else you want to say about living from the vibration?
Well, this actually, the second part of the embodiment of the divine feminine really is in the embodiment of actually living in our bodies. I mean, there's the heart, and then there's the womb or the pelvis, where there's so much sexual trauma that we have are habituated, and really with some really deep trauma, there's often just an avoidance, because it brings up the fear also surrounding the event that happened. And so I really feel like it helps, that we need to get help to really come into some of these deep places. But the vibrational field of the body itself, in particular in the crystalline dimensions is consciousness itself, and we have come to disregard and demean our bodies. And a lot of the spiritual paths that were very patriarchal on this planet have been about, you don't look at emotions, you ignore the body, and you transcend. I mean, that's really what we've learned. And this call of the feminine is to come into our bodies and to embrace through our breath, really through sound, through our breath, through water, the vibration of water, that we embrace that which is arising in our bodies. Because our bodies really give us the next and the next and the next in terms of our healing journey, and hold so much that's happened to us in this and past lives. And it's so, and we've become so accustomed, conditioned to deny our bodies, to the point that we, in order to heal, we go see someone else because we don't know what's going on in our bodies. And in fact, the feminine calls us into relationship with our bodies. Relationship through our hearts of embracing the body, embracing ourselves, recognizing the intelligence, the divine wisdom in ourselves, and coming into relationship with that. And by doing this, we can come into relationship with the earth from a vibrational perspective, from the inside. And it isn't a mental thing. We can't grasp it. So a lot of people approach the feminine to try and understand it mentally. And I'm saying, no, we need to come in through the heart, through our animal nature, almost the visceral, the instinctive, into our bodies, and embrace that. And through that, we come into vibrational oneness with the earth, with the animals, with the plants, with all that, the rivers, the oceans. All of that is part of our bodies. This is what a multidimensional body really is.
Waking to our multidimensionality and the feeling of our heart, feeling the divine feminine in our body. Okay, Grace, this would be a beautiful time for a powerful vortex of love to work with masculine and feminine balancing of these energies. Does that sound good, or would you give us a little different take on that?
No, I think that this is where really through the vibrational field and through what emerges in the body that we start to be informed, rather than trying to go from the outside in, that we actually tune way deeply inside and allow the body and our heart to tell us what's really up for us in terms of healing or anything else that's happening. And then sometimes when outer events come and they trigger us, it's really the inner that's calling that experience forth so that we can embrace. And it really does require feeling pain that we have become so averse to, not as a means to an end, but as a means of breaking through to the deeper flow of love that is our divine essence. I mean, it's really to know that the pain is not endless. The pain is a signal. Wake up. This is a place for you to look deeper, for you to embrace deeper, for you to open to deeper. And that eventually it unplugs, basically, that trauma or whatever it was, and allows a much greater flow of love so that we generically, organically open to the divine wisdom of love through our bodies. Our bodies have so much to teach us.
Yes, beautiful.
I hope that's making sense. I mean, this is the way that I see and experience it. But I understand that it's a totally different paradigm than the one we've been conditioned to.
That's why we are looking forward to experiencing this. All right. Okay. Well, let's go. All right. Thank you.
Very good. Okay. So I would invite everyone to close your eyes. Just gently close your eyes and to start breathing ever so slowly and gently into the heart. Just dropping, letting go of any of your anything that's going on in your life, and just bringing yourself present here into this present moment, into this precious, priceless gift of this moment. Just easily and effortlessly letting go of all that you have to do, all that's on the agenda, and just bringing it here. And breathing in through the breath, breathing into the heart and spiraling with each breath a little bit deeper. Slowly in and out. Feeling the welcoming call from the depths of your heart. Just gently relaxing the diaphragm, the muscles in your ribs. Breathing gently, feeling the welcome. And as this field of the heart expands, opening into beautiful golden light here in the heart and the depths that are calling you. This is home. This is really your true divine essence calling you. Softening. Ever so gently dropping with each breath. A little deeper into the heart. And expanding the spirals. And allowing the spirals to continue to expand and dropping even deeper into the heart. Call in here the angels of love, angels of grace, angels of compassion, to hold this field. Calling in Hathor, the power of the Egyptian field. And as we expand this, just to ask our bodies, noticing anywhere that's tight or feels uncomfortable, and we ask our bodies, the intelligence of our body, what it is we would like to heal, where we would like to focus today. Just allowing the body show you where we'd like to focus this day, in this moment. And then bringing our breath, this whole field of the heart, just embrace and surround that and fold that in this field of love. This field of remembrance. Field of compassion. Just communing with your body and asking your body what it is that you need to know about this experience, about what's going on in your body. Being willing to release and to receive. Your body's deep knowing. holding this softly, willingness to embrace whatever it is, not needing to know how to fix it, just a willingness to embrace. And a willingness to drop deeper. Releasing. And setting your intention to release, to receive, to hold this gently. And we bring this field of the heart slowly and gently down the heart line, spine, into our sacrum, into the womb. It's swirling around this beautiful, gentle, golden energy of love, softness, the embrace. Just allowing ourselves to open to the caressing, the tenderness, the gentleness, expanding the sacrum, the womb, our whole lower pelvis. And feeling here the call of Mother Earth, the heart of Mother Earth, and dropping ever so gently, merging your heart into the heart of Mother Earth, bringing yourself into this resting place that you remember of merging, being one with Mother Earth. The deep peace, the remembrance of your own essence as this consciousness, this vibration, this depth of your own soul. Falling into this embrace in the heart of Mother Earth, just allowing yourself to surrender here to this deep peace. Into the gentle embrace of the Mother. Opening to receive. Calling in the feminine Christ consciousness, the feminine Christ council. Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, White Buffalo Woman, Kuan Yin, Infinite Goddess of Compassion, to open ourselves into this compassion. Calling in the green tar. To release anything we can release, and in particular, whatever our body chooses to release in this field what we're ready to let go of. Calling in the crystalline consciousness of the planet, the mineral kingdom, to embrace and to unfold, and to activate remembrance of this. That is the oneness, the field of knowing that resides deep in our own DNA, the DNA of the earth. Opening into this, just willing to soften and surrender. And finally, we call in the crystalline waters, the sacred waters. Of the ancient mother womb. Allowing ourselves to just softly dissolve all concepts, all thoughts. Anything we thought we were. Just allowing ourselves to dissolve and softly feel held in the safety and the incredible love of the ancient mother here. Allowing the sacred waters to gently move through ourselves, our physicality, our emotional, and the spiritual self. Cleansing, purifying. Receiving the depths of this into every cell in our body, recognizing, bowing to the intelligence of our own bodies, of the sacred waters in our own bodies, and activating here the remembrance of the aliveness, the joy, the infinite possibilities of healing and of life unbounded. Remembering calling the Lemurians here. The mastery of love. The profound Lemurian consciousness of healing our own bodies, of knowing ourselves as love, and receiving this pure crystalline vibration, the purity, the innocence, the depths of ourselves. Just allowing ourselves to be immersed in this remembrance, this truth, the transparency, the depth, the grace, immensity and the spaciousness of love. Allowing the waters to continue to carry this message, this vibrational truth through every cell, cleansing, purifying, detoxifying. And we continue to allow this timeless process to have her way with us, to surrender to the intelligence of every cell in our body, the remembrance of the crystalline intelligence, wisdom, grace that resides in the core of ourselves. Knowing that this process continues as long as we need to complete this particular healing, we easily and effortlessly bring our unconscious awareness back into our hearts, into this embodiment here. Easily able to move through the dimensions. No limitations. Opening to the infinite possibilities within our hearts. Bringing our awareness to the room in which we are currently being. Noticing the contours of our body, feeling of the clothes that we're wearing on our skin. We bow in gratitude and reverence to the intelligence of our own bodies, to the beauty, the joy that resides within. In gratitude for this moment that we've shared, for this group that's gathered here. And tremendous gratitude to the Lemurians, to the Feminine Christ Council, to Mother Earth, to the sacred waters, and to ourselves. We easily and effortlessly open our eyes as we're ready and drink some water to facilitate our bodies continuing this healing process through its timeless and boundless dimensions.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love this moving with the water and being with the water and the flow of water and the love. This is so precious that words can disturb it. I truly hope that, yes, I truly hope that everyone is feeling this.
I mean, it's really beyond the realm of words. It is the vibrational world of the divine feminine, the emergence of love.
the emergence of love and the power of love.
Yes.
And it's all within us. It was very interesting. It felt like, I'd love to hear from those who were listening to their body in this and seeing where they were shown, where you can open up more to love. And it really feels like the womb, a lot of womb work. That was me personally, so very interesting here.
Yeah, the womb. The womb holds so much. It really is the reemergence of the ancient mother, because I think this whole crystalline, it holds the energy of death and rebirth amongst many other things, but it's really like dying to this paradigm that we've been living in order to rebirth our crystalline selves. That's really what the womb is here now, really coming alive now on the planet, also for Mother Earth, to go through this process of dying to this paradigm of limitation, lack, suffering, and open to the limitless and boundless, really miraculous dimensions of the crystalline.
Yes, just feel that. And it feels like it's a choice, the vibrational reality. So really, holding this frequency, staying here, there's a stillness to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Letting go of that paradigm of lack. Absolutely. What a beautiful process. Coming into the heart, bringing in the light, embodying it, expanding with it. This is your gift for our world. This is your mission.
Yes.
Because of your own understanding. Wow. For our listeners, if anyone has a question, star 2 will allow you to raise your hand, and we can take a few calls. Or you can chat with us, your experience. What was that like for you? Are you feeling it? Are you maybe not feeling it? It certainly is ego-less, out of the mind. I see a world where everyone gets this. I really do. Do you see that same vision?
No, absolutely. I totally know that this is what we are moving toward, and it's a bumpy ride right now, and it really is a calling to come deep into ourselves and into this grounded connection anchored in the earth in order for us to emerge as our authentic selves and be vulnerable, transparent, without all of this facade that's so exhausting to keep up on the outer. To really come into this, and the purity, the innocence, it's so joyful, so peaceful, so really amazingly beautiful. And I know that this is the new birth, the new earth.
Yes. This is the new earth, and we have said this many times. New earth is a vibration. New earth has no judgment. And we can't bring our baggage to new earth.
No, we can't.
But it is a level of consciousness. A level of consciousness right here in this moment. You took us there. We are there, Grace. Isn't it beautiful?
It is totally available right here. Many, many, many levels of consciousness are available right here. And the ascension doesn't mean that we're leaving. It simply means that we are living, residing in this vibration of love and joy, really, and innocence and purity right here on this planet, which really, and no more illness. There's no need for us to be ill and to be so disconnected, separate from the experience of having really such a vibrant and healthy body.
Yes. Right now, it is this time of this groundedness and this connection and this flow. So awesome. Thank you. And not to go too mental on us, I was curious as to the timeline of this Kundalini awakening. What year was that for you?
I think it was in 2007, I think, or 8.
Okay. Yep. It is in, I ask because I've noticed this window. And it's different for everyone. And we can look back in our lives around 2000. And for me, 2005 was a catalytic year. 2001 with 9/11, that was a catalytic year for so many of us. 2020 was another one. 2020 is different because it really seems like it began in that, you had yours in 2008, and we've seen others 2009, 2010, 11, 12, even most recently 14, 15, 16. And we're all getting there. When we looked at the shift of the ages, 2012, December 21st, I was one of those who thought something was going to happen on a shift. But what we see is this is one heart at a time, truly one heart at a time. So thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing this high vibrational vortex of love with us and listening to the call of your heart. As we wrap up our call today, there's someone I will take a call or start to get you to raise your hand. You mentioned this call of the heart, and today we listened to our body. So I think people felt the experiential of tuning into the body and asking for the body to show us where it needs more light, where it needs more density release.
Yes.
As you were listening, as you were listening to the call of your heart, what was that like for you? How did you recognize it was the call of your heart? Some might not know how to truly listen to the heart.
Well, honestly, I think initially that it was such a soft calling because I was so accustomed to what I call the rogue masculine of just running over it and driving my body, driving myself to achieve on the outer, that I couldn't really hear what my heart was saying. But eventually, in particular when my body broke down, the call of the heart became louder and louder. And the more we honor that, it's the same thing with the body, the more we honor it, you start to develop, it's all about relationship, trust between that you actually are paying attention. The heart starts speaking louder and louder, and eventually it really becomes about that you merge with that, and it's no longer there's even a separation between the call of the heart is exactly the impulse you're doing in the world, because there's no longer a question, but it is a process of developing trust and honoring it over and over and over. So we have to learn to value the heart over the mind, really, and understand that the feminine is meant to lead us in this world.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. And as we each tune into it and experience that for ourselves, it is beautiful. It is beautiful as, again, I see that world. I see that world, and it's one heart at a time. And leaving duality and leaving that old paradigm behind really feels empowering when we know that we've got this within us. This is all accessible within us. I truly, truly hope everyone gets this. If you don't get it, please come back and listen to this show again, and the feeling that you get from the process. Because it's outside of the mind.
I also think that as we come into oneness, that we are, I mean, this is part of what surprised me in terms of my own evolution too. When I started teaching classes, I was healing myself, but it was actually working for everybody. And I realized we're one, like we're one field. And so that just continued to evolve, so that healing myself, I was healing the class, and then pretty soon I was merging with events in the earth, and the earth, I would get called to circumstances that are happening in there, some of the natural disasters, etc., and just merge with that and heal, lift the emotional trauma that the earth was harboring there. And then, you know, when we have full moons, I feel the full moon fully in my body. It's not out there. It's really happening. And this is the beauty of the vibrational field, is that I'm merged with everything. And so then I realized, just by healing all that's arising in my body, this is the multidimensional body, really. There's really no physical, individuated body in a certain kind of way. There's just, I am the expansiveness of all of it.
Okay, beautiful. Let's go to a caller. Melinda, we are unmuting you. Hello.
Hi, Lauren. Hi, Grace. Thank you so much. I really needed this. Thank you very much for sharing your story and the meditation. I've been very uncomfortable in my body today, and the last few days have been really intense. So I've been trying to go in, and I have done a couple of times, but for the most part, I really feel grateful that I was led in. You know, it disciplined me to stay with it, to go through the uncomfortability, because I've had a lot of tightness in my left side of the gut and going into the groin area. And so I have felt release in the gut. It's a little bit more in the groin, but I can feel that it's loosening. But I really just wanted to say thank you, because I really didn't feel the courage to go into it fully without some assistance.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for, is it Melinda?
Yeah.
Thank you for speaking up, and let me say that the tightness, et cetera, that you're describing about how it builds up, it really is because your body, as the vibrational field that's here, I mean, our field, you knew that you were coming to do this, whether you consciously knew it or not. Your body connected to the whole knew that, and the body naturally brings up that which is its next, basically, to release. So oftentimes, when I'm teaching classes, people get really uncomfortable. Huge symptoms come up because their body's doing the work. Your body is so intelligent; it's already brought up what needs to emerge and be released. And so, your body just basically is doing what it does organically. And recognize, here comes the field of love. Here's my opportunity. I'm going to release this density that's here. I'm going to get some help here, and it starts to just bring it up, because that's the intelligence of our bodies. So thank you for bringing that up.
No, that's amazing, because when I saw you, and I attend some of Lauren's shows, I was like, I have to be on this show.
Well, that was your heart speaking to you.
So, thank you very much, ladies. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Melinda.
Yes, thank you, Melinda. I'm so glad you could feel this shift, sister.
Thank you
glad.
So much.
Yes. You know, like I said this morning, I just felt the peace. And I just needed, and the Lemurians, the Lemurians, Melinda, you're a Lemurian. Everyone listening is a Lemurian. If you are listening to this show, you are definitely a Lemurian. And it hasn't always been easy, because I see, Grace, as I go inward, I just want to share, as I go inward, doing the work on the triggers that we do, it's so interesting. When I look at my outside world and what triggers me, 90% is related to my perceived responsibility of Lemuria. Isn't that interesting?
It is
Somehow my
interesting.
failure, like I'm judging myself for a failure around that. And I wonder if anyone else feels that too. When we go deep enough, we can sense that and we can heal it. Yes, that's where the healing happens, because that is in our cells, right on a cellular level, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's actually really impressive that you can feel that it goes back to Lemuria, because we have a very limited sort of linear perspective of that things happen in our childhood and therefore we are the way we are. But really, as you tune into the soul keeps spiraling down, and the same issues have happened in lifetime after lifetime, because we're basically polishing the diamond of clearing. And by the time you get to Lemuria, and this sense of you're getting very close to sort of the fullness of the completion of the cycle.
Thank goodness. Holy cow.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, it even goes into singing. I've been taking singing lessons, and what has been revealed, because I love to sing, but my family says, Mom, you got to get it. My husband and son say, get some lessons. And what came up was definitely something related to shutting down the voice. And it goes very deep. And just singing in a normal voice like this, in this range, not singing lower or higher, but in this voice, it brings me to tears every time. And I sense it and I feel it, and it's like, wow, I shut myself down. Not in other lifetimes, but me, something, and that is related to Lemuria as well, because I remember, see, I'm going to cry right now. I remember standing and toning and singing to the ocean. And so, see, enough said on that. You guys can all sense how deep this is for each of us when we really dive into it. So I'm vulnerable there for just a moment as I see more, right? There's so much clearing going on. Holy cow. But the open heart is really a gateway and the key.
And Lauren, I thank you for bringing that up, because that actually brings it up in the vibrational field for everyone. It's no accident that you just brought that up, and I could feel the depth of it in terms of everyone in the field is benefiting from your willingness to release and open to that, so thank you. That's actually how we serve the world.
Okay, everyone, so share your story. Sometimes we look at our stories and say, why in the world would we want to share that with anyone?
Right.
But it is truly, wow, it is truly that vulnerability that helps all of us.
Yes, so much, I can't tell you. And the willingness to feel it is really the service to the planet. I can't tell you what a huge service that is to the planet. We think it's all about doing on the outer. It's really about feeling these deep wounds. And in that, we free everyone when we free ourselves just by feeling it, allowing it.
That's why we always say this love that we give ourselves literally changes the world. Yeah. Absolutely. Let's go to one more caller. Angela, hello, sister.
Hello. Good afternoon.
You sound good.
Oh, well, only now after the activation. Today I wanted to echo some of the things spoken about on the call. I had a difficult start to my day, almost like a comedy. My phone broke. I didn't have my wallet when I got to the train. It was raining outside. And I work construction, and there were several things that happened that I was just like, okay. And what I did today, interestingly, is I started to play this game where I was really present with every little detail. Like, all right, I'm going to put my pencil in my tool belt here. Now I'm going to grab my measuring tape, and I'm going to measure every single little move I did. I had to speak it in my mind. in order to not have something go really wrong. And I found myself thinking about like how parents can be very compassionate sometimes with their children and very patient, and how I sort of lack that patience with myself. That all came in today. That's brand new stuff. And
beautiful.
Yeah. I feel it is related to this show where I was just like, okay, Angela, just be passionate. Because, you know, I'll be on top of a ladder trying to screw in a tiny screw into this light fixture, and I'll drop the screw several times in the day. You know, it's not fun. So I was like, okay, let me just be patient, because like kids do really annoying little things like that all day.
Right.
And someone has to be there. So I had that moment with myself today.
Well, I'm so glad you're bringing this up, because what you're really talking about here is self-love, about really opening to having that compassionate field for ourselves, just like we would, just like a mother would, as you're saying, for their child. I mean, that you would do that for your own self, that you would open that for your own self, a forgiveness and a compassion and a spaciousness, generosity. I mean, just saying, oh, well, just drop that. Just like you would a little kid who wouldn't be able to do any better, in a sense. You know, that's beautiful. So that is really the field that I am, is really a lot about this self-love. So it's teaching you that.
Well, I got the lesson today.
Yes. Yes.
A lot of self-love had to come in today. So thank you.
And my ego wants to say, take extra screws up the ladder.
But the light fixture comes with only 2 screws. And they're so tiny, and you have to stuff all the wires in there and then get these little, it's infuriating work. There's a reason I have a job.
Well, consider it spreading love into the fixture of the light and all of the wires through that building, and just you're sowing love. Again, I just love that vibrational reality that Grace took us into today. I felt it this morning. It was really intense. It was really crazy. So thank you, Angela. You do sound good. You sound great.
Thanks, Angela.
Yeah, thank you for sharing this field with us.
All right, sister. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
And you know,
right.
Loren, I just wanted to say that the crystalline world is based on vibration. So that the crystalline body is really, I was just really noticing this last week about how much I appreciate, it's moving much faster than the world than the sort of mass consciousness world, because there's no more resistance, and because we're one with the larger field, and because it is so much more efficient when we live from the vibration, because it's transparent and it just speaks the truth. The body never lies. This is what I love about the cellular memory. It's not lying about what happened. So I've seen so many people's, you know, the emotional trauma that they went through, whatever it is, their body's telling the truth. So I saw a lot of the events that happened during the Christ eras that are not historically represented accurately from many, many different people's eyes, in a sense, in healing and doing the healing work with them and seeing what really happened, the cellular trauma. The body is remembering. The body isn't lying. The body knows.
The body knows. Yes. The folks who are embodying their higher self, working on ascension, they report this exact same relationship with the body. Mm-hmm. How you feel the full moon, they feel the universe. We are the universe. So when we hear these stories and understand the importance of listening to the body and actually understanding how to shift this vibration instantly. For example, with our world, Say someone gets up in the morning and reads the newspaper, or you're living with someone who gets up and reads the newspaper or the news or whatever. That's duality. That's the old paradigm. But if that needs to happen, instantly shifting it to this vibration, no matter where we are. I think that's really key.
Yeah. I mean, really to come into the heart and to recognize, even in that, if they're reading the paper, you're
even
still
in the
one
heart.
with them in a much deeper place of the vibrational field that you are with them. So they can do whatever they want. I mean, that's the freedom of love, really.
Right. And if that helps see from a different perspective, maybe we can see how the world is shifting. We can see the world is shifting, but we don't blame and judge others. I mean, it's so easy to do that. That's like our humanness. It's 90% of what we do is we walk down the street judging, looking at others, right?
Yes.
And so it's just beautiful to be given the tools like this, to see these tools, to experience these tools. We will get there. We will get there.
Yes.
I know we will. Yes. Well, I want to share a couple ways that people can work with you. And I want to say, stay tuned, everyone. We're going to be doing a special Mastery Empowerment course with Grace. The date is yet to be determined, but we'll do an encore of this show and let everyone know that. In the meantime, Grace has a beautiful special offer which allows you a couple of ways to work with her. Grace, will you share with us? You've got a couple of things. You've got a Feminine Christ Healing Circle. You've got Healing Sexual Trauma Guided Meditation. That's an MP3. And then you've got a monthly Zoom class. This is a bigger package for those really serious and really intent on working very deeply on their embodiment of the feminine Christ. Share with us these items in your offer.
Sure. Thank you. I have a class coming up, and because of the merged connection, the union with the earth, I always begin at the equinox and go through the solstice, and this is a very deep dive into the multidimensional, the body, to develop a new relationship with our body, of recognizing and embracing the body's intelligence, and to develop a relationship with our body, which really is the sort of the foundation of developing deeper oneness. So it's actually quite a journey, and we get together once a month and do a deep dive and a retreat. And in the whole time that you are in this class with me, I'm doing healing work. My greater being's doing healing work 24/7, but every day I sit down and do hours of healing work on the group, and the group sort of the traumas, the issues that are arising, so that people transform sort of miraculously. They don't have to consciously do everything, but then I teach in the classes how to incorporate practices to be more embodied, to be more responsible, to be more in alignment with your body rather than the disconnected way that we usually operate. And this class, this vortex, really builds so that what Melinda was describing earlier, how the body gets uncomfortable, the bodies have a lot of symptoms come up because of this healing field and because of the field that we create together. And so in this way I do group healing, and it's quite a jump into evolutionary leap into a deeper residence basically within oneself. And so this is really my great joy. And then I also offer the Feminine Christ healing circles and again, I do the healing work for several days before and after in the field, so that people also get uncomfortable and teach whatever is emerging from the field. So in the healing of the trauma, usually there's a particular theme in a sense that arises. So I teach that, and then I do a journey similar to what we did today. So I do those calls on Zoom. So my next one is will be with Mary Magdalene on Mary Magdalene's feast day, and so it's whatever sort of emerges in the field and whatever the message of the feminine Christ is at that time. And I also just want to say that, and the sexual healing is because we have so much deep sexual trauma that I wanted to offer that gift really for people to be able to do this and to just be able to do it over and over, because we spiral deeper and deeper, and the womb just really needs so much attention to heal some of this. This is the deepest, darkest trauma we have really, of the things that reside in the womb. And so that's what I have, and annually I teach self-love, which I think is just a foundational part of the journey to recognize that we can only come into being universal love by diving deep into ourselves and into that which we truly are, and addressing the obstacles that stop us from residing in the field of love within ourselves. That's really what self-love is about, balancing the masculine, feminine inside. It's an inner journey.
Yes, engaging in self-love and moving into universal love through that. All right, so thank you. All right, you've got 2 of those. I just want to clarify on the special offer. The Feminine Christ Healing Circle, that's $33. There's 2 dates here. Those are both classes for that. Is that correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, no,
Beautiful.
it's $33 per class, but they're about a month apart.
Okay, great. Thank you for that clarification.
Yes.
That's beautiful. That comes with a recording. The circle itself is a healing vortex. Yes. And a beautiful experience. Thank you. And then the MP3 download for Healing the Sexual Trauma Guided Meditation, that is available as a recording, $22 for that. And now the dates for Embracing the Multidimensional Body. This is a class. Mm-hmm. March 20th, April 24th, May 22nd, June 19th, and then again May 8th and June 5th, and also April 3rd. Does that end in June, or does it continue? Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, actually, it ends, although a lot of the same people continue on the journey once and go into the fall, because I wanted to set the groundwork here in the spring about coming into our multidimensional body, and then in the fall we would go into how then we become the universal. I mean, how from this relationship with our body and grounding in this and anchoring in our body and developing this mutually respectful, honoring relationship with our own body that we then move into. I mean, it just organically happens, really, into merging into the universal. I mean, merging into the galactic family, the galactic field, etc. So they really sort of dovetail off each other. I haven't really excluded anyone if they don't do the spring class from the fall class, because I usually think that people who are drawn will follow, and everyone does it at whatever level they're at anyway. But the spring class obviously is it's a 4-month journey, so it's really 24/7, even though people are engaged in their lives. But similar to some of the things people were talking about today, it really brings up a lot of epiphanies, insights, awarenesses, because I'm removing the whole time deeper trauma that's blocking the intelligence of love from arising in people. So it's really an ongoing journey, even though we only get together once a month. But I'm also really excited because we get together Easter weekend, and Easter is really sort of the PowerPoint. It's an incredible celebration of the Kundalini of the earth. That also happens to be what the Christians then called Easter, but it really is such a resurrection energy in that. So this class is going to be very powerful.
Resurrection energy. We are already in it this month, it feels.
Yes.
So again, I just want to clarify about that time with you. These are not just the Embracing the Multidimensional Body course, the 4-month time with you, the ongoing cellular healing work, deep cellular healing work, and immersion in the ancient mother womb throughout this class. does help restore the flow of our innate divine blueprint as love. And I love these dates. These are, again, they're recorded if people can't join live, but we've got times here. These are Pacific times. I'll make a note on our page to be more clear. But these are day-long events. 4 day-long events from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific with a 2-hour lunch break. And then you've got 2 Zoom calls, 2 hours each, May 8th and June 5th. And then, of course, that Easter celebration. You had your own experience on Easter, amazing, the resurrection energies. And that one is 5 hours in that celebration. So a beautiful time with you, a beautiful vortex of love with you for ways that people can work with that. Awesome. Just want to say thanks once again.
It's a very deep dive without question, and this is part of the reason I want it to be experiential, because I think we can all do conceptual. I mean, I read self-help books for 10 years. It doesn't really change that much. You have to really come into that in your body and embrace what's arising and really come into understanding and developing that relationship experientially, viscerally in our own bodies.
Viscerally in our own bodies, and this is where you are assisting all of us to tune in a little bit better, to tune in. It's our inward journey, and it's happening one heart at a time, this shift. And we thank everyone for doing this work because it is so precious, and we can drop that old world. That old world is kind of beaten up and old, isn't it? It's exhausting. It's tiresome.
It's exhausting. It truly is exhausting.
And this is what we
realize
need.
how exhausting it is, and also
we're realizing it.
It's a lack of
realizing it. It's insane in a way, but yet this is the journey. And so to keep I say this over and over, I sound like a broken record, but it is keeping our eye on the prize of New Earth, keeping our eyes on the prize of this instant state of beingness. And that will always make me the eternal optimist. So,
well, this is good. We all need to be eternal optimists.
Yes,
and remember that, rather than get totally embroiled in what's happening, understand that we are truly that spaciousness, and that all of this other stuff that's happening, it's not to bypass it. It's really to be able to hold the spacious, a vibrational container of who we are, so that all the rest of it can sort of just be like water off a duck's back. Like, we know it's there, we can live with it, but it isn't something we have to believe.
Right. Yes. And it makes me feel good, and anything that doesn't make us feel good, that right there is the indicator. Deal with it or drop it, right? Let it go. We've talked about the art of letting go many times, and you're actually helping us let go on a deep cellular level.
Yes. Yes, well, it can be, I just think, that easy in a certain kind of way. And sometimes I think we're all here to help one another. This is my service of love, and others are doing other things.
I'll say that again, a service of love, no matter what your service is. If it's helping people be present in their space, or if it's putting a screw in a light fixture.
Exactly.
Or smiling at someone with your eyes if they can't see your face. People know when people are smiling.
Yes.
So always smile, whether we can see your face or not. We will get through this, everyone. We will. As we've learned today, our vibration together creates our reality. We are dreaming and creating this world together. That's why your love matters so much. And we thank everyone for this beautiful love generation within yourself. So Grace, this has been so beautiful. Thank you so much. I have a huge smile on my heart.
Oh, thank you, Loren. This has really just been amazing. So thank you for this opportunity. And thank everyone who is here, will be here. This field, it's just amazing. Thank you, thank you. It just feels like miracles and grace just pouring in love. Thank you.
Miracles and grace, everyone. Oh, thank you, Grace. Galzagorry, your special offer is available on this webpage. We have a QR code that you can scan on our video if you're seeing that. That'll grab you right to our website. Thank you, Grace. Again, I just love the experience today, and I truly trust that everyone listening feels so much lighter. Again, this feels good. We go with what feels good.
Exactly.
And with that, I thank you, Grace. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Until we meet again.
And until we meet again, we'll have you back for another quantum conversation and a mastery empowerment course. Stay tuned, everyone. In the meantime, check out Grace's teachings on her special offer. She would love to work with you, and you will love that vibrational field. We are creating the field together. Thank you, everyone. Now it is time to dance our way to the cosmic heart. And I think I'm going to do something kind of mellow to keep us in this beautiful space and vibration. Namaste. Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. Access all quantum conversations, special offers from our guests, and online healing retreats by visiting acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe, music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste. you.